Welcome to the Akashic Library.
All right, today we're going to dive into a pretty mind-bending concept from our source material. It's this idea that we share a deep, fundamental connection to, well, everyone and everything. And I gotta say, it's a concept that might just change how you see the world.
So to kick things off, I'm just going to borrow a line directly from the source because it sets the stage perfectly. Ready for this? Let me blow your mind. Yeah, it's a bold promise, I know. But trust me, the idea we're about to explore just might live up to it.
Okay, so before we go any further, let's get a really key definition out of the way. When we use the word God in this explainer, we're not talking about a religious figure, okay? We're talking about the universe itself, the source, the quantum field, basically the totality of all life. Think of it as this all-encompassing consciousness. So now that we're on the same page, let's get to the first big idea.
So what does it really mean to be connected to this universal consciousness? Well, the core idea here is that every single one of us, you, me, everyone, we all share the exact same fundamental identity. Now get this, the source material basically says that you are a piece of this universal God that's just experiencing itself. And that other person, the one you love or the one that drives you crazy or that total stranger you pass on the street, yeah, they're also a piece of God experiencing itself just through a completely different lens. We're all just fragments of the same whole. Wild, right?
So, if we're all one, why on earth doesn't it feel that way? According to the source, there's a catch. Our everyday physical experience, what's being called the third dimension, it kind of gives us amnesia. It creates this powerful illusion of separation, and it makes us totally forget the deep underlying connection we all share.
Let's keep going and see how this builds. In this next section, we're going to explore this whole illusion of separation thing with a metaphor that honestly makes this super abstract idea way easier to wrap your head around.
I mean, it's the big question, isn't it? You look at another person, and you see a distinct, separate individual. But is that the whole picture? Are we really separate? Okay, I want you to picture the ocean for a second. You look out, and you can see hundreds, maybe thousands of individual waves. Every single one has its own unique shape, its own peak, its own special moment before it crashes down. They all look like their own separate things. And boom, that's the whole point. Despite how they look, the waves aren't actually separate from the ocean. They are the ocean. You can't do something to one wave without affecting the water that's going to become the next wave. That's separation we see. It's just a temporary illusion. The source is saying we are exactly like those waves. Okay, so if we're all connected like the ocean, how does that connection actually work in our daily lives? Well, this next section gets into the how, the mechanism. And it's all about a shared energetic field that's transmitting information between us all the time.
This part is absolutely fascinating. Let's use a super practical example from the source. Telling a lie. When you lie to someone, that action isn't just happening between you two. You're actually putting the information of that lie into this shared field. And since you're both connected to the same ocean, that information travels. The other person might not consciously know you've lied, but they get it energetically. They get that weird gut feeling, that pit in their stomach we call intuition. They know something is off because the information, the energy of it, is already in their field. And all of this brings us to the final, and maybe the most important, part of this whole explainer. What are the real-world consequences of living in this interconnected field? It all boils down to a simple, universal law. There's no such thing as bad luck. Wow, now that is a bold statement. I mean, most of us just assume that bad things happen because of random chance or misfortune, but the source material completely challenges that idea. It suggests something else is going on entirely. So here's the bottom line. The illusion is thinking you can do something to somebody else, whether it's good or bad, and just get away with it because they didn't find out. But the reality is, because we're all one, what you do to others, you are fundamentally doing to another part of yourself. The energy you put out into that field, whether it's kindness or deception, it inevitably finds its way back to you. So that thing that seems to happen out of nowhere, a lot of the time, it's just the echo of your own actions coming back around.
And that all leads us to the ultimate takeaway from this whole thing. The world you see, the out there, it isn't separate from you. It's a mirror. In a very, very real sense, it is you.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. If the world and all the people in it are just other versions of yourself, and if the energy you put out is guaranteed to come back, what kind of energy are you going to choose to put into that shared field today? What are you going to choose to put into the world?
You're not separate from the universe. You're an integral part of its unfolding. Next, discover whether your path is predetermined or chosen in fate or programming.